Hi everyone, welcome to the third edition of Ann and I's joint Friday Feminist Fuck You. Today we're going to say fuck you to voter suppression.
Yeah, fuck you.
You know, it's a big concern in this election because of the large number of new voters and people, particularly a large group of them who are traditionally disenfranchised voters, people who haven't voted before. People who've been voting all their lives, who know where their polling places, they're not at much of a risk for voter suppression, but it's these new voters and the disenfranchised populations that are at big risk. So Ann and I are going to talk about 5 different examples that we've heard of voter suppression tactics. The first affects victims of Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. A lot of people had to flee their homes when Katrina happened, went to new states that they, outside of Louisiana, and didn't have any documentation with them. So a lot of them, the first thing they did was get a driver's license or some form of ID. Well, a lot of states, when you sign up for a driver's license, automatically ask you if you want to register to vote. So these people ended up registered to vote in more than one state, usually by accident, right? And now what states are doing is they're comparing their voter rolls. And if you're on two or more, I guess, states' voter rolls, they're immediately being purged from the list completely, and so they're no longer registered to vote in any state. So that's a big concern.
Not good.
Not good. Not good for all the people in Katrina who were affected by Katrina. Another example of voter suppression has been some instances of voter intimidation at the polls. So people go to polling places and yell things at voters as they go in, maybe make people feel uncomfortable as they're going in to vote, maybe make them not want to go into the polls at all.
It's the abortion clinic strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a good one, no. And then lastly, we hear again, apparently this is not the first time, in Virginia, some Democratic voters, particularly in a historically African-American community, were being sent letters saying, hey, there's too many people voting, so Democrats vote on November 5th instead of November 4th.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Completely illegal, and obviously a ploy to try to get those voters not to be able to vote. So.
Right. In addition, we blogged about this a while back, where in Michigan, the chair of the state Republican Party was saying that people who had lost their homes to foreclosure were technically no longer residents of that county, that district, and therefore unable to vote, and was sort of spreading that misinformation that if your home was foreclosed upon, you'd be purged from the rolls. Clearly a suppression tactic. And the last one we want to talk about is not an overt suppression tactic, but in terms of the McCain campaign and Republicans repeatedly decrying voter registration organizing groups like Acorn, and sort of implying that anyone who's doing work to register historically disenfranchised populations is somehow committing a fraud. And, without very many specific charges of this actually happening. And I think that that works by discounting the work that these groups do to register new voters, and overall actually has a really, pretty detrimental impact on the vote. And so we just want to recommend going to votersuppression.net, which has like an action center and places you can log in if you experience any of these or hear about any of these tactics. But, there's also a good portion of this, because this is our last, fuck you, yeah, before the election. And so we want to definitely also say fuck yeah to just voting in general. Because, that's, I don't know, voting is a really feminist thing. And so fuck yeah to voting, fuck yeah to people who are registering new voters, fuck yeah to this historic election and the vast number of people who are voting for the first time. We think that's awesome, and yeah, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, go vote.